Hi,
Yeah,
hi, Amar. How are you?
yeah, brilliant. Yeah, great. Thank you. And let me just before I forget, let me just get you to grimace at the camera, briefly smile, and beautiful. Thank you for that. Uh, uh, Thanks for dialing in and joining us, Chris. It's always wonderful to have you on our radio show right here on Spice FM. Let's kick off by asking you, and I know you've said this previously, and for our regular listeners, they'll know um, all about you. But let's kick off with who you are, what you do, and why you do it, please.
So, Amar, I'll start with I'm not an entrepreneur, but my role means day to day, and actually, the majority of my clients are owner managed businesses and entrepreneurs. So, my role is I head up the financial planning business within RBC Brewin Dolphin. RBC are actually it's probably the eighth or ninth biggest bank in the world, depending on this morning's share price. So a large organization. So the function I fulfill is effectively running a business within a business. And I help business owners and entrepreneurs with their long-term financial plans and ambitions. So clients from all sorts of walks of life, but the common thread for me is that they're generally entrepreneurs.
Hmm, excellent. So you get to know about entrepreneurs, you get to know about business, but more primarily, you get to support them in their most crucial place and space, which is money, right? Isn't it? Is
We
that what you do?
do. We do. I mean, I'll often say to my clients that actually our biggest asset isn't our investment management expertise and our financial planning capabilities, but it's kind of our network and how we can help. And one of the things about being a business that's been in the city for 120 years is just the strength and depth of our network, be that professional services, be that industry, be that different networks, clusters, angel investor syndicates, something you and I were talking about last week. We
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
think that we can help our clients both with our core capabilities, which is long-term strategic financial planning, but also just on their entrepreneurial journey. And we're absolutely delighted to do that any way we can.
Brilliant. And Chris, tell me, why do you do it?
I
Why do
think,
you do?
uh,
Not why does RBC or whatever it is, but more
well,
why do
I've
you?
I've I've been in the Northeast all of my life. I mean, I've had stints kind of down in London and out the region, but I like to be a champion for Northeast growth, prosperity, and Northeast business owners, which, let's face it, are the lifeblood of the regional economy, small businesses. And I just see that as the thing that drives my passion in this role is being part of the community in the Northeast and assisting in any way I can.
Oh, brilliant. And talk me through your career and a little bit of that as well, just to set some context. Chris, did you always
Yeah,
want to be what you
yeah,
what
I
you was?
am. I think I saw the financial advisor that looked after my family, sort of meet with different family members, help with financial plans, give them confidence in the future, and put strategies in place. So I've always done this. I've worked for four different wealth management businesses. I've spent the last 7 years at RBC Brewin Dolphin. And before that, I spent 10 years at HSBC looking after the more complex clients in that business between Edinburgh and York, so the sort of northern region geographic patch. I've had some specialisms in the past, like professional sports people, lottery winners, but very much the last 10 years, I would say, it's been a real entrepreneur and owner managed business focus.
Hmm. Um, Good. And I think having that background and that influence and that experience as to knowing what value someone can bring, right?
Yeah.
Because I think just talking very bluntly and openly, Chris, lots of people will be sat there thinking, my gosh, I haven't got that much money in the bank, but why would I need? someone to advise me on that. And it's not just money in the bank, is it? It's things like pensions, it's things like, assets, it's a range of things. And just like you would go to a doctor or a clinician to get your health checks and whatever else, it's quite useful, isn't it, to sort of just sort of pick up the phone or talk to Chris and sort of go, Chris, I don't know what I don't know, and that's quite a lot where I'm concerned. But I don't know. But actually, you know what? I need to start thinking a little bit more broadly and wisely for me, for my retirement, whatever, whenever that looks like, whether you're going to retire or not, and then for those future generations as well.
I love that analogy. So I love the GP and the health check because I think that's a really interesting way to think about things. But what I would say is don't wait till you've got any symptoms before you have that health
Yeah,
check.
yeah, yeah,
Don't wait until
yeah.
there's a
Good.
problem. Yeah, but we
Yeah.
do we have lots of clients who will engage us at major life stages. That might be family, it might be bereavement, it might be selling a business or realizing value from an enterprise, which is the common sort of theme within my client base. But I think it's important to not wait until you hit these major milestones in life or in your career, but think about things at an early stage as possible, because that's
Mm.
when small steps and small increments can have the long-term compounding power of money means that actually starting quite small and modest, even when you're in that position where you think, well, I don't have substantial savings or pensions, but actually that's the point at which formulating a long-term plan can have a really powerful impact, give you that financial security at a later date, and make sure the ambitions for yourself and your family have the best chance of being fulfilled.
Yeah. So critical point there. Reach out and have a conversation. Um, and then sort of wealth management for SMEs in particular, because entrepreneurs and such like. What financial strategies do you recommend for growing businesses? So businesses that are growing, and just very briefly before I get into a few of these questions that I've got here prepared. Um, this is, I think it's really important. We're not offering any advice regulatory over the waves or in video. And this is just Chris and I having a general, generic conversation, and everybody's individual circumstances are unique. So just like a doctor wouldn't come on and say, here's what everybody should do, I don't expect Chris to be able to talk to everyone. So on that basis, SME, I'm growing. What type of financial strategies would you recommend?
Yeah, so I mean the sort of financial plans that an entrepreneur might have at various stages throughout their journey can differ clearly, from startup to substantial enterprise looking to exit, or realize value. So when we're talking about that kind of growing business, some of the things that might become important to the business owner are kind of building some financial security outside of their core trading activity. So it might be things like thinking about how to extract some profits, by using things like pension contributions. So you're taking some money off your balance sheet, moving it to yourself, and preserving that for retirement. And there's some real tax efficiency around that. It might be protecting yourself against risk. What's
Mm,
the implication for yourself? What's the implication for your co-directors of the death or serious illness of one party? What might also
mm,
that mean for some of the key people in your business? So we often focus on the business owner, but what about the key people, the key strategic people, the key sales people, the key technical people? What if anything happens to them? So one of the first thing is protecting some of these important assets within your business, and people is a really important consideration. So
mm,
the insurance for assets and machinery is quite common to find, but actually thinking about the importance of your people, protecting the future prosperity of your business by focusing on people. Beyond that, we'll often talk to people about how they see the future of the business. So if there's potential to realize value from the business at a later date, what's the magic number? What do you need to realize from a transaction to make sure you have lifelong financial security? You can meet all the needs that you have in terms of any liquidity requirements, any philanthropic endeavors you might want to engage in, things like angel investing or buying, the car that we'll call it the trophy assets, but there might be something that you want to
Um,
treat yourself to, just to
Good.
reward yourself for all that hard work
Yeah.
during your career. So we'll kind of model this out and we'll build a roadmap. I've got a phrase that I love to use, which is rehearsing your future. So imagine a really super duper calculator that you can put lots of different scenarios into. You can think about some catastrophes. You can think about different things that might play out in your life. And we can kind of help build this roadmap and this forecast. It's often referred to as financial modeling or cash flow forecasting. But we find that business owners at growth and scale stage can get a lot out of kind of modeling the future like that. So
Uh,
that's, I'd say, one of
I,
the key
I
things.
love that. I love that analogy. Sort of that reverse um, planning,
Yeah,
sort of what does success look like, and then working back from that. And also your point around the trophy element, Chris, all too often we just focus on the pain
yeah,
and not necessarily the gain.
hmm
It's almost like, right, yeah, 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 and you need to celebrate those small or big wins or whatever it is, and it's nice to spoil yourself if you can afford to, those that are close to you, particularly if you've worked hard, right? If you put in a
yeah.
hard slog. Um, okay, so RBC, eighth biggest bank in the world, great accolade. What does that mean for the Northeast, Chris? What does that mean for us here from your perspective?
Well, I mean, we're very much the same. We're very much the same business to a certain extent that we've been for the last 120 years. And for us, it's about serving the community in the Northeast. So the Royal Bank of Canada give us some strength, gives us some additional tools in the toolkit.
Right.
But really, the Newcastle office, we're very much focused on the Northeast and our clients in the Northeast. So we have over 350 staff in Newcastle. We have lots of different programs to help our staff with things like mental health awareness, well-being programs. We support charities in the Northeast. And I think, as you know, we're very well connected with the business community. And that's through a combination of different, through professional services, through industry clusters, and through various different memberships. So I'd say, we're big enough that we've got all the size, the scope to serve any client need, but we're focused enough in the Northeast that we're very much about what we can do for the Northeast and show we're a real important part of the business ecosystem in our region.
Yeah, and not just the business, but the broader, wider community, and you invest quite literally time and effort and support um, to help it make the region and the north of England a better place. And I don't doubt you do it elsewhere outside of this area, but certainly having seen you firsthand, you and I were down in Harrogate a couple of weeks back. With a room filled with women in a hotel. Well, that might sound very peculiar unless I contextualize that.
You need to give more
But
information, I think.
no, I'm going to leave it there. Is that I be in the news of the world or whatever it was. Anyway, uh, the room filled with women, entrepreneurs, leaders, part of the Lifted project that we have been involved in from the outset
Yeah,
about trying to address some of the inequalities surrounding investment into female owned or female led organizations. Now, statistically, you I always question or query where statistics come from and how they are gathered. And I said that on the stage as well. It was saying that women only get 2% of X was actually a study in the US of X amount of businesses exclusive to that area at a particular time in point, right? Or point in time. So I always go, all right, you can get a statistic to suit any particular argument, both for and against. But despite that, we know, because you can physically see this, that there isn't that many female entrepreneurs. So we need to support that. The second part is then we need to support female entrepreneurs who require investment.
Yeah.
I would always question the facts as they had been stated that female entrepreneurs are far more successful than male entrepreneurs on what basis? And that's
Yeah.
not a bias I have. I'm just keen to understand what are you measuring that on? If it's it's sort of if it's number of startups or scale ups or whatever that is, then the numbers are always going to be skewed anyway, right? Because if you're doing a direct comparator, you it's incredibly challenging.
It
If
is.
you're taking a
So
sample size of that and that, is the thing.
yeah, I mean, when we had the session down in Harrogate, I tried to avoid quoting any data on this, but I mean, my view is that, if there is potential to support more female entrepreneurs, the impact it has in terms of improving UK productivity, improving employment, and improving output, if there's some capacity there that can be released, then we need to get behind that initiative and support it and drive it forward because it benefits everybody. And certainly with that initiative, one of the things I'm seeing that's really positive is the growth in what I would refer to as the transition angel investor. So we have clients who've founded, grown, scaled, and realized value from businesses. And the number of females who've gone through that process and are giving something back by backing female founded businesses and early stage female founded businesses is very encouraging. And not just backing them with capital, but backing them with knowledge, coaching, access to their own personal network, whether that be within the sector specific or within professional services. It's just really encouraging to see what's going on in this space.
And it is, it's brilliant. And, and actually the point wasn't around statistics or questioning what's being said. It was you done an amazing speech. You delivered something quite passionate and relevant and responsive. And I think, going through the investment journey from SEIS, EIS, and talking through the various considerations was really, really insightful. And I feel as if it's probably something that I'm going to invite you to come along and do at one of our inclusion type events or sort of inclusive investment type of event because it's incredibly relevant. I'm just conscious of two things: time and the awards. Chris, you've been a long-term supporter of inclusion, and obviously that's demonstrated through the conversation we've just had around lifted, but even more broadly, you've supported ABC for a very long time as a not-for-profit social enterprise. Why is that, and what do you get from being involved in the awards?
Well, I mean, the ABC initiative, in terms of what it's doing to bring people together, that inclusivity theme, um, the theme around helping business owners that drive the regional economy, it's just all the things that we're tuned into as a business and I'm tuned into personally and trying to advance. So it kind of ticks every box in terms of the themes that we want to be involved with, and we're keen to continue to do so as long as possible. But also, you've mentioned doing some coaching around investment and around sort of empowering people to think more about investment, and that's something we're delighted to do as well. So yeah, the ABC is something we're very passionate about supporting. So we thanks again for all the support you've given us in return.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And actually, I'm off to Saudi in a few weeks' time, and I'll be meeting with the various individuals that we brought here and you kindly hosted, and we're planning some further trips and opportunities. So I know that inclusion, innovation, internationalization, everything features so highly for you. Chris, if someone wants to get in touch, find out more, what can they do?
Yeah, I mean, the quickest way to do it will just be to look on LinkedIn. You can get my bank details. Sorry, not my bank details, my contact details. Otherwise, if anyone contacts you, Amar, if you want to pass on